Social media is not harming our kids. Well, that's the claim made by Meta today at a Senate inquiry in Canberra, where the world's biggest social media companies were grilled, accused of failing to do enough to protect our children. But the tech bosses stood by their actions, and a warning, this story contains confronting material. Under pressure.
You don't think social media has done harm to our children? Is that right?
Unrepentant.
I don't think that social media has done harm to our children.
Meta, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube. The world's biggest tech firms today fronting a Senate inquiry in Canberra for a second time. The aim? To find out how social media impacts and influences Australian society.
I think transparency and Meta are two words that do not link together.
For hours, the tech bosses were grilled on issues including the prevalence of violent and graphic content on their platforms.
I'm seeing the most horrific videos of children being bashed, children who are on the precipice of suicide. What do you know right now about the number of children that you believe have died as a result of using these products?
That's a complex question and I'm going to need to come back to you on it.
As well as the impact of social media on a young child's mental health.
Do you accept that there's a direct correlation between the introduction of social media platforms and the explosion of eating disorders throughout the Western world?
I think that issues of teen mental health are complex and multifactorial.
You cannot be serious. You can't be taken seriously, Ms. Davis, when you say that Meta products aren't harming young Australians.
The tech bosses at pains to stress their commitment to protecting children.
You say you're doing all this stuff, but it's just rubbish.
I will respectfully disagree.
When it came to proposed bans for children under the age of 16, Snapchat's head of public policy was told the story of 15-year-old Matilda, who was relentlessly bullied by her classmates on Snapchat. She died by suicide in 2022. It was her 12th attempt to take her life.
She was exhausted, tired, broken. She just couldn't fight anymore. When she was ready, she stepped off into whatever experience eventually awaits all of us.
The inquiry assessing what legislation is required to hold the platforms to account, with the final report to be handed down in November.
You asked my perspective on a ban and it's not something that I support.
You are still, after I've just read that story out, you still think that children should have access to social media. This is a parent's worst nightmare.
And it is a parent's worst nightmare. So we're dealing with this as a family at the moment. My little girl's 12, nearly 13, and she desperately wants a phone. And we've said no, but she's almost the only child now in her group that doesn't have a phone. So, you know, you do want to be the parent that says, no, you can't have a phone and you can't be on social media. But the flip side is if all of her mates have a phone, then she's missing out on things as well. So it's such a difficult thing to navigate. And then you see a story like that and you think, I just don't know. Like parents, when you've got like teenage kids, it's just so hard to figure out the way through it.
Of course it is, and it's not something you should have to navigate by yourself. It's also not good enough for the heads of these companies to be avoiding those questions when all of this data is coming out about kids with heightened anxiety, the rates are incredible. And just to say, you know, that's a complex question. Well, it's a complex question we need an answer to, and we need it now. We can't wait. It's not good enough to say that we're going to defer these questions to a time when they can give us a nicely packaged answer. It has to happen now.
Yeah. Do you think that it will?
I think it's got to be a collaboration. I think it's got to be government policy, it's got to be corporate responsibility, and it's got to be parents banding together as well and just banding together rather and actually making these changes because it's a kind of terrifying prospect.
It is. And it would actually be easier if you could say to your kid, actually, by law, you can't have that until you're 16.
To back you up.
Yeah, to back you up.
Yeah.
If you need any help or someone that you know, for any reason, crisis support is available 24/7 through Lifeline on 13 11 14. We have to go to a break. We'll be right back.